Well, so please welcome the North American Aviation Rockwell OV-10 Bronco on the roll. Tony heads up a group of very enthusiastic people who aim to demonstrate this incredibly unique aircraft to air displays right across Europe. It's a turboprop light attack and observation aircraft developed in the 1960s for counterinsurgency work. You may have heard the military term COIN used, so it's counterinsurgency in the combat zone. And one of its primary missions was as a forward air controller, FAC, during the Vietnam War. Quite a sporting aircraft, and you'll see it put through its paces by Tony here today. He's very much the driving force behind the project, and he's been into aviation since his early childhood. Got well in excess of 4,000, probably 5,000 hours by now to his credit, and loves displaying this aircraft and showing it off to the best advantage. You'll see a Skyvan here as well, and his support display team along on the static park. You'll see this is an aircraft built for a mission. It's a rugged performer with some pretty awesome agility, and is also fully aerobatic. The aircraft itself was conceived in the early 1960s through an informal collaboration between Beckett and a Colonel Rice in the US Marine Corps. They met at the Naval Air Weapons Station in China Lake, California. Also happened to be near neighbours, and they came up with this concept for this rugged, simple, close air support aircraft, which could be easily operated well forward in the combat zone. You see now on a very low speed pass with the gear down, this very much demonstrating its use in forward air bases, often using roads as runways. Speed very much in the very slow to the medium subsonic, but essential to have loiter times as well. You can see there the fittings for various weapons. What they were looking at on this type of aircraft initially was forms of strafing weapons with self-loading recoilless rifles and the like, so that they could deliver effect, deliver aimed explosive shells, but with less recoil than you got with a cannon. They of course were also lower weight than rocket assemblies as well. At those speeds, you can see it's clearly got a very good STOL capability, that's short takeoff and landing. So it's the sort of thing even in jungle areas where you could just clear a limited area and it would still be able to get in. That's why it's got a fairly short stubby wingspan as well, limited to 20 feet, and a trailing arm landing gear with a tread of 6.5 feet. So that specification that those guys were working up with, those sort of concepts, was issued eventually in late 1963. Looking for some sort of mix, jungle fighting, versatile light aircraft and observation. So what you eventually was produced was very much a mixed bag, a high utility, high performer, very flexible, very agile, STOL aircraft capable of laying down fire on the ground where needed, but also essential reconnaissance and forward air control work as well. It's a real joy joy to fly this. Got really responsive handling characteristics, can fly for a good 5 hours with external fuel tanks fitted as well. It's got outstanding visibility. If you take a close look at just that tail end, you'll see that wraparound greenhouse. Just a little bit wider than the fuselage down at the tail end. With the second seat removed, it can carry about 3,200 pounds of cargo, 5 paratroopers or 2 litter patients, that's 2 casualties, with an attendant as well. You may see the bottom of the fuselage contains sponsors or stub wings that improve flight performance. They decrease drag underneath the fuselage. See the, oh, and wow, there, an outstanding show of agile flying. And just look at that, through 180 going straight down the fly line, Tony De Bruyne giving us an outstanding display of the sheer agility and flexibility of this remarkable aircraft. The OV-10 only served in the US Air Force, Marine Corps and the Navy. But it did serve in a number of other countries. A total of 81 were ultimately lost to all causes during the course of the Vietnam War, sadly. The Air Force losing 64, the Navy 7 and the Marines 10. But after what I think there was a really outstanding display, now Tony being given clearance to put it back on the ground and an opportunity now to return to the history of the Fleet Air Arm. So, ladies and gentlemen, as Tony comes into land, you may see him around in the static park later on. He's an absolute top guy. Do please give him a wave on landing there. And he puts a huge amount of effort and support into taking his team around Europe. A very, very popular man indeed. And there you go, giving another example of a short landing at the same time. So we're whipping into this display today. It's just going away from us, and we're almost at 12 o'clock, and therefore time for something very different. And if you look down to your right hand side, you'll see